This book is from the Cul-de-sac Kids, and it's called The Dabble Surprise. Chapter 1. Abby Hunter drew an X with her red marker. The X looked perfect on her teddy bear calendar. Next Saturday is the big day, she said. She said, in 1 week we'll meet our new sister from Korea. She made dancing stars around the red X. I can't wait, said Carly, her little sister, looking up from her first grade spelling list. Abby snapped the cap on the marker. Just think, there'll be 4 girls in our family. I think Daddy wants some boys, Carly said. Mommy doesn't know how to raise boys. Abby said, there haven't been any boys in our family for 3 generations. Carly twisted one of her blonde curls. What's a gender? Abby sighed. Not a gender, generations. Well, what is it? Carly asked. It's all the kids born in a family. When they get old, about 30, those kids get married and have kids. Then those kids... Okay, I get it, Carly said. Abby straightened her calendar. That's why we only have girl cousins. Carly wrote a spelling word. I'm glad gender isn't on this list. Generation, Abby insisted. Whatever, said Carly. She made a tic-tac grid on her paper. Want to play? Can't, said Abby. Duncan is coming over to shoot hoops. Duncan was the best player in Abby's 3rd grade class. His real name was Edward Muffin, but no one called him that. Duncan thinks he can't be beaten, but I'm trying, Abby said. Is Duncan your best friend? Carly said, looking down at Abby's sneakers. One of them was red and one was blue. Maybe, Abby whispered. The doorbell rang, followed by pounding on the front door. Abby grabbed her jacket. That's definitely Duncan. Carly sighed. When our Korean sisters come, maybe they'll play with me. After lunch, the girls helped their mother put up the pink wall hanging. It read, Welcome, sisters. Soon I'll have 3 sisters, Abby said. Carla jumped up and down. Just in time for Thanksgiving. Before, corrected Abby. Thanksgiving is in 12 days. Carla pushed. Please hold your end still, said Mother. She is too excited, said Abby. They stepped back to admire the wall hanging. It looked perfect in their soon-to-be new sister's room. Now the room was ready. Matching pink spreads covered the beds, fancy pink curtains, and pretty white blend dresses up on the windows. I think the room's better than mine, said Carly. Abby swung her sister around. I'll trade your room for mine. Nope, said Carly. Abby had Carly's room when she was little. There was a secret place in the closet. A secret place. She missed hiding there with a flashlight and a good book. Now Carly had the room and the secret place. Sometimes Abby and Carly hid there together. Abby would read softly to Carly. Mother often forgot to look for them there. Meet you in 5 seconds, whispered Abby. Where, said Carly. In a secret place, Abby said. We have secret plans to make. Carly's eyes shone. Okay, she said, and dashed out of the room. Abby hoped things wouldn't change too much when her Korean sisters arrived next Saturday, but she would wait before sharing the secret place with them. Just a little while longer. Chapter 2. Abby pulled a pillow into the secret place. Shh, don't make a sound. She slid the shiny door shut. Abby switched on 2 flashlights, one for Carly, one for herself. Call the meeting to order, Carly whispered. Okay, the meeting will come to order. Now, is there any news? No, said Carly. Get to the important stuff. What's the secret plan? Let's buy welcome home presents for our new sisters. Like what? Carly asked. Let's buy matching bride bears. Bride bears, Abby said, with lots of white lace. Carly wiggled all over. Abby twirled her flashlight. Mummy and Daddy will be surprised too. Carly grinned. If we keep the secret. When Daddy buys gas for the car, we'll ride along, Abby said. She planned everything. She always did. Abby had another idea. Let's make cards for our sisters too. Out of pink paper. Carly said. And lace from Mummy's sewing box, Abby said. Carly clapped her hands to match the bear's gown. The girls did their hand-over-hand secret code, and then they prayed. Dear Lord, Abby began, we're getting our new sisters. They might not know about you, Carly added. Abby finished the prayer. Please help us to show your love to them. In Jesus' name, amen. They turned off the flashlight and crawled out of the closet. Abby curled up on Carly's bed and cuddled 2 teddy bears. Carly looked worried. What about our secret place? Can we keep it secret from our new sisters? Definitely, Abby said, but not for too long. Carly looked like she was going to cry. What's wrong, Abby asked. She moved close to her sister. I'm afraid you won't be my best friend anymore, Carly whimpered. She hugged her bed. Maybe you'll like our new sisters better. Don't be silly, Abby said, patting Carly's hair. She wished her own hair would grow long and curly like Carly's. Let's make a braid, Abby said. Goody, Carly said. She hopped off the bed to get hair ties. Make 4 braids, Carly begged. 4 will look silly, Abby said. Carly panted. Come on, Abby, just for fun. Abby tossed the hair ties onto the bed. She stomped out of Carly's room. She could hear Carly yelling for Mummy. Little tattle. Abby didn't care. It would be great having a sister who wasn't such a baby. Chapter 3. Abby put the matching bride bears in the yellow basket. I'll carry it, Carly said. Abby slid the welcome home cards into the basket. Carly twisted her hair. Do you think they'll see the bride bears? Do you think they'll seen bride bears before? Maybe not. There will be lots of stuff in the United States they've never seen. When will we give the presents? Carly asked. You'll see, Abby said. She wished Carly would stop asking so many questions. The airport buzzed with people. Some carried suitcases, others pushed trolleys and pulled luggage. Mrs. Roop, the caseworker, spotted the airline schedule. Flight 225 is late, she pointed at the screen above their heads. Abby and Carly groaned. Let's have some dessert while we wait, Mother suggested. Mrs. Roop got special gate pass so they could meet the plane. After going through the security, they strolled to the snack shop. Show us the pictures again, Abby said after dessert. Her father pulled out 2 pictures of Korean girls. Carly stood on tippy toes to see the pictures. Will they get home sick? Our home will soon become their home, her father said. We want to make things easy for them. You and Abby can help us. He hugged Carly. Well, help them to learn our ways, Daddy, Abby said. Carly nodded. And God's ways, we promise. Abby couldn't wait to give the bride bears to her new sisters. She remembered getting her first bear dressed as a bride 2 years ago at Christmas. Her father had read the Christmas story from the Bible on Christmas Eve. Everyone opened one present. They saved the rest for Christmas morning. Abby's had been a bride bear with a tiny bow on its valve. That same Christmas, Abby's parents had told them that the plan to adopt Korean girls. It was a long time to wait, too long for Abby. She had always wished for another sister closer to her own age. Soon she would have that sister. Carly would too. Abby thought the hour would never end. She leaned against her mother, who seemed tired. Maybe the waiting was bothering her too. At last, flight 225 arrived. Abby was so excited as her family waited at gate B7. The area was full of families and caseworkers. All of them waited to welcome Korean kids to United States. Abby held her breath. There was hundreds of people. How would they find the sisters? Or Miss Lee, the escort who had brought them from Korea? This could definitely be a problem, Abby thought. Definitely. Chapter 4. Abby spun around. Her parents and Mrs. Roop stood behind her. Quick, get the pictures out, she tugged on her father's coat sleeve. We'll know what our sisters look like, Carly insisted. But Abby wanted to be double sure. We'll stay here and wait for the escort, her father said. He unfolded a square paper and gave it to Abby with the pictures. On the paper were the words Hunter family. Great idea, Daddy, Abby said, holding it up high. I'm going to explode if we don't see them soon. Be patient, dear, Mrs. Root said, and it won't be much longer. I can't wait, said Abby. Come on, Carly. Let's go look for them. She handed the sign to her father, but kept the pictures. Grabbing Carly's hand, Abby led the way through the crowd. In the far corner sat two girls. Abby studied the girls and the pictures. What do you think? She asked Carly. Maybe they grow a lot. Abby inched closer. She saw the name tag on the escort. It was not Miss Lee. But Abby felt brave. Excuse me, do you know who Miss Lee is? The lady smiled. Are you getting a new sister, too? Abby said. She felt like a jitterbug inside. The lady pointed. Mrs. Lee is over there. Thank you, Abby said. She stood stone still. Something is crazy wrong, she whispered. Carly came closer. What is it? Can't you see? Miss Lee is with two boys. The girls stared. Let's find our sisters, Abby said. She walked up to Miss Lee. Carly followed. Miss Lee knew nothing about the sisters. She introduced them to the boys. I'd like you to meet Lin Chun and his brother Ling Chung, she said. Carly reached out to shake hands. Abby turned away. She hurried to find her parents and Mrs. Roop. Daddy, Mummy, come quick! Something crazy wrong. They pushed their way through the crowd and found Mrs. Lee again. She introduced the boy who bowed to Abby's parents. Mrs. Roop studied some papers. So did Mrs. Lee. Abby watched her mother's face turn pale. She was puzzled at the twinkle in her father's eye. The Korean boy sat down and waited. They looked stiff and scared as Abby's father led Mrs. Roop around the corner. Abby stared at the boy's dark black hair. The young boy was skinny. She couldn't see a single muscle on him. The other boy had sad eyes. He played with a shiny round tag. He seemed to be in charge of his little brother Ching Chu. Abby walked around behind the seat for a better look. She was dying to see Ching Chu's silver tag. What is it? She wanted. Both boys sat straight up as the boards. At last, the grown-ups returned. Let's take a walk, Mother suggested. The Hunter family huddled in the hallway. There has been a mistake, Mr. Hunter exclaimed. But we didn't want brothers, Abby said. Your sisters will arrive in 3 days. He put his arms around Abby and Carly. What about the boys? Carly asked. Mother answered, they will stay with us until Mrs. Roop can clear up the mistake. We have to keep them, Abby cried. It's only 3 days, said her father. Oh no, Abby shouted. Where will they sleep? In at the new rooms, Mother said softly. Not our sister rooms, Abby said. She pushed the presents down in the basket. She looked at Carly. Keep the bears hidden. Good idea, said Carly. But what kind of gifts can we give them? Father smiled. What about kindness? That's one gift that these boys could use right now. Abby stared at the floor. They won't want the bride bears for sure. That's for sure, she said. Her throat felt like there was a lump in it. This can't be happening, she thought. Abby lingered behind as Xing Jing and Ching Chu walked between her parents down the long hallway. Abby's father talked to them. They seemed to understand English. Ching Chu kept nodding but not talking. Carly giggled. She pointed to a crop of hair sticking straight out of Ching Chu's head. Abby poked her. Shh, she said. Abby stared at Jing, wrinkled shorts and t-shirt. He must have slept in them, she thought. Boys, how will I ever get through the next 3 days? They waited for Father to bring the car around. Abby set down the yellow basket. Ching Chu stared at the shiny paper peeking out. He bent down. Pretty paper, he said slowly. Before Abby could stop him, he pulled out the present. His brother spoke to him in Korean. Ching Chu held the present up. He turned it over and over. Abby wished her mother would do something. In a flash, the wrapping paper was off. A bright bear smiled at Ching Chu. Abby thought she would choke. Ching Jung grabbed the bear away from his brother. He turned it around, giggling. Abby looked at her mother. Stop them, she cried. Mother raised her finger to her lips. On the ride home, Ching Chu balanced the bear on its feet. So did Ching Jung. They bounced the bears on their sandals, pointing and giggling. Their giggling bugged Abby and the bears. Would it be dirty when her sisters finally came? Pooh-wee. Carly looked over in the van middle seats. Her eyes got big. Abby looked away. She couldn't wait to get home. How many more minutes? She asked her father. Be polite, honey, he said. Polite, usually that was easy, but not today. Today she'll call her friend Stacy Henry. Maybe Stacy would let her move in for 3 days. Besides, Stacy owned her favorite, a Double Dabber favor. Last month, Abby had been covering for Stacy at recess when a stray puppy wandered into the playground. He looked sick and sad and needed help. Stacy whispered her plan to Abby. Abby talked to the playground teacher while Stacy hid the sick cock poodle in her jacket. She sneaked to the edge of the playground. Then she raced home with him 3 houses away. Later, Abby had helped Stacy talk her mother into keeping the cuddly white dog. It was a Double Dabber favor. We're home, shouted Carly. The boys leaned forward to look. Abby couldn't wait to get to the phone. Stacy will help me, Abby thought. Cul-de-sac kids always stick together. She ran into the house away from the boys. Inside, Abby grabbed the phone. She told Stacy about the boys and the crazy mix-up. What will you do? Stacy asked. I think I'll call Duncan, Abby said. He can teach them to shoot hoops. That could take 3 days, she laughed. Carly ran to the kitchen. The boys undressed the brides. Bear bride, she whispered in Abby's other ear. Yikes, gotta go. Abby hung up the phone and hurried downstairs. The boys' door was open. Abby stood in the hallway. She couldn't believe what she saw. Jing Jung was dancing with a wedding dress on his head. Dance, dance, he said, dance. He twirled around faster and faster with the white lace dress slid off his head. Abby caught it. This goes on the bears for our sisters. Jing Chung looked around. Sisters, he pointed at Carly. She is sister. Our new sisters are coming in 3 days. Under her breath, Abby added, they better come. Ching Chu kept running in out of the closet. He held up a girl's slip and waved at the hanger around as he giggled. Then he jumped into one of the beds. He pulled a pink curtain. Be careful, Abby said. The curtain will fall down. Down, down. Take them down, he chattered. I don't like. Ching Jung walked out of the room. Ching Chu climbed off the bed and followed his brother. Abby held her breath. She felt all shaky inside. Carly chased after the boys. Abby looked down at the bedroom rug. Something shiny was lying there. She leaned down. It was Xing Jung round tag. Strange marks was on each side. This must be Korean writing, thought Abby. She slipped the silver tag into her pocket. Abby went to the kitchen. Her mother was cooking with some new rice cooker. Abby sniffed the air. What's for supper? Rice, Abby, mother said, with chimchong on the side. Abby pinched her nose. Smells terrible. The boys will like it, Mother said. Abby groaned. Will our sister like it too? Mother nodded. What in this chimchu stuff? Abby said. You'll eat it better if you don't know, Mother said, smiling. Sounds scary. What else are we having? Hot dogs, baked beans, chips? Mother said, that's what I'm having. Abby ran to the front. Find Carly. She had to warn her not to eat the Korean food. It's not rotten. Carly was outside on the driveway with the boys. The cul-de-sac kids were there too. Duncan dribbled his basketball. He showed off his fancy moves. Jason Bukchul chased behind Duncan, trying to grab the ball. He was a hipper, as always. Stacy Henry showed off her puppy. Carly played with his floppy's ears. Dee Dee Winters sneaked her sucking on her thumb. Eric Hangel showed up on his cool 10-speed. What's up? Let's have a meeting, Abby said. Duncan shot another basketball. Right now, Abby squealed. Wow, 9 in a row. Let's get our quarrel with the new boys on the block, said Stacy. Ching Chung and Chung Chu turned to each other. Ching Chu reached for his big brother. Abby felt shy. She wondered how it felt being stuck with a family who didn't want boys. Then she dug into her jean pockets and handed the silver tag to Ching Chu. His sad eyes lit up. It must have fallen when you danced, she said. Ching Chong held it tightly. Thank you, he said. Then Abby had an idea. A dabble, good idea. Abby called the kids over to the porch. Let's help Ching Chu and Ching Cha get to know everyone. Everyone tell your name and how old you are, she said. And your pig out fruits, yelled Jason. The kids laughed as they sat on the porch. Leave it to Abby, Eric said. He put the kickstand down on his bike. I'll go first, Duncan offered. The kids stretched out their necks to look up where Duncan stood. Ching Chu said, very tall boy. Duncan told his name. I'm in 3rd grade. Healthy nuts. I eat salads with Alfredo sprouts and tomatoes. Yuck, squeal. Carly squealed, holding her nose. Duncan stretched his arms. They made me grow tall. Tall enough to dunk a ball. Well, almost. The kids cheered. Who's next? Abby said. I am. Carly said her name with Anne in the middle. I'm in 1st grade and I'm starting to dream about rice. She grinned at Ching Chu. He laughed his high giggle. Ching Chung sat straight and still. I'm Ling Ching Jing. Age 8. I eat American rice. Ching Chu jumped up. I like Jimmy name. He patted his chest. I now am Jimmy. Jimmy eat rice. Eat rice. Abby couldn't believe it. Ching Chu looked like Jimmy. Jimmy, she said, pointing to him. Pick somebody. He pointed to Stacy Henry, who held up her puppy. I'm Stacy, and this is Sunday Funnies. He finds the funnies in the Sunday newspapers before anyone else. Dee Dee giggled. Stacy continued, I'm in 3rd grade. I like pizzas the best. We only have it on weekends. Abby pointed to Dee Dee. Your turn, she said. I'm Dee Dee Winters. She wiped off a wet thumb. I'm in 1st grade. Chocolate ice cream is my favorite. I don't know why. It just is. Abby sat down and looked at Eric. Hi, I'm Eric Hingle. We moved here from Germany 2 years ago. I'm in Abby's class, 3rd grade. He paused to smile at her. I eat sweet tarts. My grandpa has pockets full of them. He's a watchmaker up the street. Eric sat down beside Duncan. Sweet tarts aren't real food, Abby teased. Are so, Eric. He threw her one. She caught it. Where is mine? Jason asked. You're not supposed to have sugar, Eric said, remember? Jason crossed his eyes. My name is Jarek Engel Burson, but my friends call me Jason. Dee Dee giggled. Nice name. Now it's your turn, Eric told Abby. Abby stood up. I'm Abby Hunter, 3rd grade. My favorite food is spaghetti. She slides down when I sweep it. Hooray for spaghetti! Cheered Jason. Don't forget the grated cheese, yelled Dee Dee. Then Abby said, Ching Jung and Ching Chu will be here for only 3 days. Ching Chu stood up. Not Ching Chu, Jimmy. Ching Chung pulled his brother back down. I forgot about your new name, Abby said. I'm sorry, she really was. The kids on Blossom Hill Lane stick together, no matter what, how long they stay, said Eric. Welcome to our cul-de-sac. Suddenly, Shung's eyes sparkled, and sadness was gone. Abby's mother called for supper. Xing, Jung, and Jimmy hurried inside. Jason started to invite himself, but then he smelled the Kim Cool. He held his nose and said, Are we having a meeting next week when our Korean sisters come? Abby said she hoped it was very soon. Very soon. It was Monday morning. Ching Jung and Jimmy sat on the porch swing ready for a visit to Blossom Hill School. They wore new American clothes. Abby tied a double knot on her sneaker, one red, one blue. Carly went out of the house. Abby led the way down the cul-de-sac. The other kids came dashing out. At the corner of the street, they bunched together to cross the street. When they reached the schoolyard, Abby shouted, Countdown to recess, 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 the kids chatted. Then they scattered in different directions. Jimmy followed Carly and Dee Dee to the 1st grade. Ching Jung went with Abby and Stacey to 3rd grade. Jason darted ahead of Eric and Duncan. In math, Ching Chung tried to solve the problems. He had trouble, so the teacher gave him an easier paper. The kids bumped into one another trying to help him. At recess, Jason saved a swing for Ching Chung. Eric asked him to play soccer. Duncan got dibbles on lunch. Abby and Stacey hanged for the bars. Still want to move in? Stacey asked. Guess not. Our sisters will be coming soon. What will happen to Jimmy and Ching Jung? Stacey asked. I don't know. They're leaving with Miss Roop soon. Abby hoped the boys would like their new family. On the way home, Abby skipped over the sidewalk cracks. The cul-de-sac boys yelled for Xing Chung and Jimmy to play basketball. Carly went to Dee Dee's house. Abby walked home alone. In the kitchen, Mother was cooking rice again. Abby hurried to the secret place. Tomorrow would be the best day. Her sisters were coming. She flipped on a flashlight and slid the narrow door shut. Finding her Sunday school paper, she read the story about the secret sins. She looked up Psalms 19 verse 12 in her Bible. No one can see all his own mistakes. Forgive me for my secret sins. Abby felt fun inside. How many secret sins do I have? She wondered. She talked to God about it. Later, Abby heard her parents talking. She called out of the closet to listen. Mother sounded upset. Mrs. Roop called this morning. She wants us to keep the boys another week. How do you feel about it, dear? Abby's father asked. I don't really know, Mother said. The longer they stay, the harder it will be for them to leave. Father chuckled. They're having a great time, aren't they? The great time tearing the room apart, Mother said. It's not much of a boy room now, is it, dear? Is Daddy sticking up for them? Abby wondered. Mother's voice shook. Where's the girls? Our girls. Abby held her breath. Mrs. Roop is handling that. Her father said. Let's trust the Lord to take care of things. Screech! Outside, a car slammed on its brakes. Abby ran to the window. She saw Sunday Funnies limping away from the car to hide under Eric's porch. Xing chased the hurt puppy. He crawled under the porch and coaxed the puppy out. He took off his jacket. Eric and Duncan came running. Gently they lifted the puppy onto Xing Chu's jacket. Abby dashed downstairs. "Mummy, come quick," she said. "It's it's Sunday's Funnies." Mother hurried outside to Xing Zhang. "Are you all right?" Xing Zhang looked bashful, but he nodded. "Xing is all right," Jason called from across the street. "Stacy's puppy's hurt." The boys made a three-cornered stretcher with Xing's jacket. Slowly they stepped. Step by step, they carried the cockpoodle across the road. Stacy stroked Sunday Funnies as the driver got out of the car. His face was white. He looked at the dog and patted his head. The boys carried Sunday Funnies to Abby's mother. Stacy followed close behind. "I'll call the vet," Mrs. Hunter said. She hurried inside the house. Stacy followed. Abby held her hand. Soon the kitchen was filled with droopy-faced kids. Ching Jung and Eric and Duncan laid Sunday Funnies on the floor. They knelt around him. Abby thought Stacy was praying. Abby's mother talked to the vet. Carly came into the house. "What happened?" "Stacy Funnies got hit by a car," Abby said. "Oh no," she cried, sitting on the floor near the puppy. Mother hang up on the phone. The vet wants to check him for broken bones. "I'll call my mum at work," Stacy said. "She'll drive us to the vet." "Thank you, Mrs. Hunter." Then she turned to Xinjiang. "Thank you. I'm going to miss you when you leave tomorrow." After the kids were gone, Abby whispered to Carly, "Meet me in a secret place." Inside the secret place, Abby told Carly about the boys staying longer. "Another week," said Carly. "Will we ever get out, sisters?" "I guess so," Abby said. "I hope so, I think." The next day, Abby jumped at a pretend hop shock while she waited for Stacy. At last, Stacy skipped down her front steps. "Hi," Abby said. "How's Sunday Funnies?" Limping, Abby kicked a stone down the sidewalk. "Luckily, he didn't get killed." "Poor thing," Stacy said. "I sneaked some waffles to cheer him up." What do you have for breakfast?" "Rice? Cream for rice?" Abby sighed. "No, rice." "You're kidding," Abby laughed. "It's not so bad." Stacy grinned. "How are the boys doing?" "Ching Jung and Jimmy are learning to say thank you to God for their food," Abby said. "And Ching Jung keeps reminding God that he's eating American rice now." Do the boys know about Jesus?" asked Stacy. We teach them something new every day from the Bible. They have a good idea by the time they leave. "But if they don't get a Christian family?" Stacy asked. Abby hadn't thought of that. "I will pray that they do." "Will Xing Chung have two names?" Stacy asked. Abby hopped on one foot. "Only until he chooses an English name," she said. After school, it was snowing fast. Abby scuffled her shoes on the snow sidewalk. Mother looked up from her Korean cookbook as Abby came into the kitchen. "Is Carly home yet?" Abby asked. "They were just here," her mother asked. "They?" "Carly and Ching Chu." "You mean Jimmy?" Mother closed the cookbook. "Who?" "Ching Chu is Jimmy now. He can't pick his name," Mother said, "but he wants to be called Jimmy. His parents will choose his name," her mother insisted. Abby didn't like that. Ching Chu was Jimmy, even though he looked like Jimmy. Abby peeked into Carly's room. There was no one there. She looked on the boys' room. "Oh no," she wailed. The pink bed tent was rolled up and stuffed under the beds. The corners were sticking out. The bride bed stood side by side on the bookshelf. They looked like boy bears now. Each one had red paper hats stuck on its head. Scissors and leftover scraps lay on the floor. Dresses drawer hung open. Mother's pink wall hanging lay folded inside the bottom drawer. Those horrible boys. She turned to go call for Carly. No answer. She dashed to the secret place, slid into the narrowest door. There sat Carly, reading to Jimmy. "What are you doing?" Abby shouted. "Helping Jimmy read," Carly said, shining the flashlight in Abby's face. Abby frowned at her little sister. "Carly knows better. Jimmy doesn't belong here." Abby churned with anger. She ran through the snow to Duncan's next door to help him with his spelling. Pooey! Carly had shared the secret place with Jimmy. Things were crazy wrong. Chapter 10. Later, Abby ran back home. She dashed to her sister's room. "How could you?" "What?" Carly asked. "You showed Jimmy our secret place," Abby hollowed. "So what?" Abby stared at Carly. "Did you tell him our secret code? Did you?" Carly frowned. "What's wrong with you, Abby?" "Nothing." Carly lined up her stuffed animals in a row on her bed. "Abby, why don't you like Jimmy and Ching Chung?" Abby held her breath. "They aren't sisters," Abby said slowly. "That's why." Wednesday after breakfast, Mother said, "Come home right after school. All bedrooms must be clean." "Mine is clean," Carly said. "Spotless?" Mother asked. Carly nodded. "What's the hurry?" Abby asked. "Mrs. Ruth is coming after supper," Mother said. "What for?" Carly said. "For a visit," Mother said as she wiped the table. "To check our rooms?" Carly asked. Abby wished Carly would stop asking questions. She felt jumpy again. Mother knew more than she was telling. Abby was sure of it. Abby followed her mother downstairs. "It's about keeping the boys, isn't it?" Mother sat on the sofa. She patted the pillow beside her. "How do you feel about it?" Abby's brain was in a whirl. She felt all mixed up. "I like Jimmy and Ching Ju. It's not that. I just had my hopes on getting girls." "I know, honey. So did I," Mother hugged Abby close. "Let's pray about it." "Okay." Abby nodded. Later, she walked to school by herself. It was a good time to talk to God alone. After supper, Mrs. Roop sat in the living room with Abby's parents. They talked for a long time. Mrs. Roop visited Abby's room first. She closed the door, sat on the bed. She smelled the roses. "I like your green and yellow wallpaper. It's lovely." Abby felt like a jitterbug. Mrs. Roop asked questions about Ching Shung and Ching Chu. "Ching Chu is Jimmy now," Abby said. "Why doesn't anyone pay attention?" Mrs. Roop asked more questions. They made Abby feel more jittery. "How would you like Ching Chung and Ching Chu or Jimmy to be your brothers?" "What about our sisters?" Abby said. "Well, we've located them," she said. "The girls are still in Korea. Your parents will have to fill papers again." She paused. "But the boys are happy here." It sounds like questions without a question mark. Abby wished she was alone in a secret place. She couldn't wait for Roop to leave. Bath time. Jimmy was yelling ever since his first night in the country. Jimmy had hated baths. Father gave him one anyway. Jimmy squealed louder and louder. Maybe he's scared, thought Abby. She searched for an old plastic duck. She found it in the shoebox in a closet. Knocking on the bathroom door, Abby showed the duck to her father. "Will this help?" Quickly, the squealing stopped. After the bath, Jimmy brought the dripping duck to Abby. "Keep it. It's yours," she said. Jimmy hugged the duck. Abby wanted to hug him, but she didn't. Later, Ching Chung asked Abby if they could visit Stacy's puppy. "We'll go after school tomorrow," Abby promised. Ching Chung was grinning, real grinning. Abby wondered what it would to be having Ching Chung for a brother, but bedtime. She prayed for her sisters in Korea. Chapter 11. School out for Thanksgiving, shouted Abby on the way to Stacy's house. She rang the doorbell. Ching Chung waited beside her on the snowy porch. Soon the door swung wide open. Stacy was carrying Sunday fundies. The little splint on the leg looked like he was a toy. Ching Chung stroked the puppy. Better? He's much better, Stacy said. Thanks. I had puppy long time, Ching Chung said. In Korea, Stacy said. Before orphanage. Ching Chung's eyes looked sad again. My puppy looked like this. Abby felt sorry for Ching Chung. Everything he liked was in Korea. He pulled out the shiny round tang. I keep this. Abby saw the Korean marks on it. What does it mean? Hangbok. In English, puppy means happy. Stacy smiled a lot like the Sunday funnies. Good time. Happy time. Ching Chung giggled. The giggling didn't bother Abby today. She was glad to see Ching Ju having a good time. They played with Sunday funnies until it was time for supper, until their dishes were done. Abby sneaked to her father's study. She tapped on the door. Abby held her breath. I've decided something, Daddy. What is it, Abby? He leaned back against the chair. I hope we can adopt Ching Chung and Jimmy. Abby's eyes filled with happy tears. Bless your heart, her father said. He stood up and kissed Abby's cheek. And I have an idea, her father said. What is it? A double Thanksgiving surprise. It is, he said, playing along. So it was settled. Tomorrow, Ching Chung and Jimmy would have a big surprise. Early Thanksgiving morning, Abby helped Mother shine the silver knives and forks and spoons. She set out bowls for the boys with Korean kampuya and rice, and plates for turkey. Ching Chung helped Abby with the decorations. Pilgrim boys and girls, a pair for each end of the table. He pointed to the pilgrims. Who? They are pilgrims. They came to America a long time ago. They want worship freedom to worship God. Ching Chung looked puzzled. Worship? Abby understood. Ching Chung had never heard the story of the first Thanksgiving. She drew a picture of pilgrims sailing the ocean in a big boat. God keep the pilgrims safe. When they came, she said, they made the waves wish around her boat. After a little long winter, the pilgrims had a feast. They shared food with their new friends. Abby drew a long table with 6 figures sitting with their hands folded. Here's how they worshipped God on the first Thanksgiving. They said thank you in a prayer. Jing's eyes grew wide. I learn new things here. I'm learning new things too, Abby said. About me, she thought. Mother came over to the table and looked at the drawing. Ching Chung touched the pilgrim girl. Abby, best sister. I tell first Thanksgiving story. She tell first Thanksgiving story. Abby felt warm inside. Carly and Jimmy came in just then. The Cul-de-sac kids are outside. They want to see Jimmy and Shung, Carly said. Abby and Shung put on their jackets and hurried outdoors. Duncan bounced his ball in the snow. Jason slid around trying to steal the ball. Stacey stomped the snow off her feet. Sunday Punny limped on his limiter. Stacey picked him up and cuddled him. Eric pulled Dee Dee on his sled. Happy Turkey Day, he called. Shing looked at Abby. There was a question in his eye. Turkey Day? Some people call it because we eat turkey, Abby exclaimed. But the most important thing is to give thanks to God. Eric pulled the sled up the driveway. He handed a bag of sweet tarts to Abby. These are from my grandpa for dinner. Where is mine? Jason asked licking his lips. No snatching, Dee Dee hollowed. Jason groaned and rolled his eyes. Dee Dee's nose wrinkled up at him. Mother peeked out. Family meeting time. Goody, Carly shouted. Abby hoped the meeting would be about adopting the boy. She couldn't wait to give her big surprise. Abby sat next to her father in the living room. Something important has happened, he began. We're going to adopt Jingju and Ching Chung. Abby clapped her hands. Jimmy! Yippee! She shouted. Jimmy and Carly jumped up and down. We stay here, Jingju? Ching Chu asked. You certainly do, Father said. We are proud to adopt such fine boys. Abby glanced at her mother. She was smiling too. Xing Zheng needs an English name, Mother said, holding the family Bible. We like the name Sean. Abby did too. It sounded like something like Xing. Xing Zheng smiled, and Abby wrote his name in the new Bible. Jimmy leapt off his chair. I am Jimmy. Yes. Mother laughed. Father set Jimmy on his knee. You are Jimmy Hunter. Abby couldn't imagine for another name for him. She also couldn't imagine having more sisters instead of a brother. Not now. Pink comes down, Jimmy said. Father looked puzzled. What does he mean? Abby knew. He means the pink curtains on their bedroom windows. Yes, said Jimmy. All the girl things come down. Mother nodded. All pinks and frills must go. You Sean can help us charge your room to look like a boy's room. Jimmy danced a jiggle. Sean tossed his silver dog tag in the air. Abby went to get the camera. Her father took pictures of all the kids. There's a surprise for you, Abby whispered to Sean. Surprise, his dark eyes sparkles. After dinner at the table, Father said to join hands. Everyone bowed their heads for Thanksgiving prayer. After a man, Sean spoke up. I say thank you to God for a new family. Big thank you. Abby smiled at him across the table. When dinner was over, Abby met her father in the study. Are you ready for you-know-what? He hugged her. It's just the right time. Abby called Sean. She led him to Carly's room. She slid the narrow door open to the secret place and held her breath. There was a fluffy puppy wagging its fluffy tail. Sean's eyes shone. He sat on the floor and the puppy jumped all over him. He laughed so hard that he fell backwards. The puppy stood on his chest and licked his face. Carly and Jimmy came shouting. The puppy yapped at them. Goody, said Carly. Is it she asked. We adopted her, but she's mostly Sean's. A good surprise, said Sean, giggling. I think of 2 more good surprises. First, Abby looked at Jimmy, then at Sean. A double good surprise, she said. Wow, isn't that an amazing story? How can we be kind to people who might not feel welcome here? Like, if they're being bullied, or if they want a home, or they want to be like Abby. See, she wanted sisters. She didn't want brothers. So how can we be like Abby and Carly, be kind to people or brothers and sisters who are coming, we adopted them, or things like that. Bye!
If you'd like to know how to find all of our stories, type Living Books for World Changers into the YouTube search bar, press go, select Living Books for World Changers videos, and you can find all our stories there. We upload new stories every Thursday. We love sharing stories with you. Come back and don't forget to like and subscribe.